Have you heard that it's absolutely essential to have all the blog posts on your website be SEO friendly? Well, if you have, but you're not exactly sure how to make sure they are SEO friendly in the first place, then this is the perfect video for you. We're going to give you 10 steps exactly to auditing your blog posts and making sure that they are optimized in the most essential way possible. Make it the easiest way possible for SEO. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Emma Gibbons. I am a brand messaging strategist, content marketer, and copywriting coach for entrepreneurs. So if you're interested in content marketing, copywriting, and mental health for entrepreneurs, this is the channel for you. And I'd love if you consider subscribing so you get more of these types of SEO checklists and content marketing tips, etc., etc. And hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. All right, so when people talk about making sure blog posts are SEO friendly, essentially, what is it that they're referring to? Well, it's making sure that that blog post can be found by your people when they type into Google that topic. So, for example, earlier today I was working on a blog content plan for one of my clients, and I was thinking about, okay, well, if this blog topic is about human design and one type, it's the generator type, well, how can I make sure that people who are looking up that information can find it? So I went onto Google and I typed in human design generator type. Super simple. And through there, you can actually look at what are people searching for. When I start typing those words, what fills in the rest of the sentence, right? There are other things you can do. If you're looking for an SEO plugin that will help you search through Google and give you lots of suggestions on the right-hand side of your page, it's called Keywords Everywhere. That's my personal favorite. But honestly, if you just start by typing in what you know your people would look for, you'll get a sense of what kinds of phrases they're using to go and search it. One other thing to keep in mind, because we're going to keep this the most simple version of how to find SEO key phrases possible, is to make sure that that main page of Google has people who are kind of like you on it, meaning other business owners, maybe bloggers. If it's all universities and Forbes, for example, then find a more specific key phrase, because it's a lot harder to get seen if everybody is finding People Magazine or the Mayo Clinic. Like, if that is all the type of stuff that you see on the first page, you're going too broad. That's the sort of thing where if you type in parenting, you're going to see Parenting Magazine and all the other critical places to find them. It's probably not going to be like mommy bloggers who are competing at that level. It's going to be really specific, that key phrase. So maybe parenting for vegan moms might be a little bit more specific, and you might actually start to see people who are like you underneath that list. All right. Those are the absolute basics of the key phrase. If you want more information on that, then I would highly recommend that you reach out, because this is something that I actually teach my writing coaching clients. We actually spend an hour together during one of our writing coaching sessions, and we go through exactly how to find great key phrases for you. We use the Essential plugin. We go a lot more in depth into finding a great list of key phrases you can use. So if you'd like more support there, then I'd highly recommend you check it out. Go to the link in the description. All right. So using that basic info, or if you already feel pretty confident about key phrases, how do you make sure you're using them properly in your blog posts so that way it actually gets picked up by Google? Well, this is where that 10-step checklist comes in. Are you ready? Okay. Number 1, put your key phrase in the first paragraph, if not the first sentence of your blog post. And as I do this, I would really recommend you pull up one of your recent blog posts and you kind of check off. Okay, I did that. I didn't do that. I did this. You can actually keep it as a little list if you want to take some notes, and you can compare as you're writing blog posts. Oh, have I put my key phrase in the first paragraph? No? Okay, I'm going to add it in now. So it can be a really useful list from that point of view. All right, number 2, either compare it to a previous blog post or use this as something to guide your next one. Number 2, put your key phrase in at least one heading and one subheading. So if you're using Squarespace, WordPress, etc., pretty much all of the major places where you can host your website, I've worked in all of them, and I know for sure that you can set them, just like in a Word document, for example, where you can put normal text, or you can copy, like highlight a section and set it as the title. You can also select headings, subheadings, etc., and you can do that on WordPress, Squarespace, etc. too. So when you mark a certain line of text as a heading, make sure that at least one of those headings has your key phrase in it, and at least one of your subheadings has that key phrase in it. All right, number 3 is a little bit dependent on how long your blog posts are. My favorite kind of sweet spot for providing both value and being an SEO friendly length is somewhere around 800 words to 1,000 words. So let's say that you did 1,000 words. I would aim to put your key phrase in the majority of paragraphs, let's say. Now, ideal key phrase density does change. So get used to basically that concept. Put it in the majority of paragraphs as long as it fits. Like, it's not you awkwardly forcing it. It makes the sentence look weird. People pick up on that, and if they start to see it as keyword stuffing, where it's just super unnatural and you know you're just trying to get people through Google, no, make sure it still fits and it's valuable, but try and put it in a good chunk of your paragraphs. That's just a good principle, even if ideal keyword density changes in the future. Number 4, double check, now that you've put your key phrase in a good chunk or the majority of paragraphs, make sure it's spread out relatively evenly. Hopefully it's not in the first 6 paragraphs and the last 4 have nothing. It'd be better to spread it out a little bit. So double check that you have it a couple times at the beginning, maybe a couple times in the middle, and a couple times at the end. Number 5, include at least one internal link. That means that you hyperlink, ideally, because it's a lot easier to read, one of your own website pages. So for example, if you mention a service that you offer, you can hyperlink it, say the name of your service, hyperlink it, and put the link to the services page there, or that sales page. Another thing you can do is if there's a related blog post, you can add a hyperlink to that related blog post. You want to make sure that you have an internal link to keep people on your website, and it's also good from an SEO perspective, but it gives people more to read and more to get to know you from. It's kind of like here on YouTube where we have recommended videos, right? So ideally, the recommended videos will show you one from the same person you're watching now so that they can grow their channel. And it's also great for you because you've come here because you're interested. Okay, I'm gonna stay here a little bit longer so that I can watch more of what you're interested in. Number 6, it's kind of parallel to the last one. It's including at least one external link. So, key here is to externally link somewhere that is going to be beneficial to the reader, right? Maybe you want to explain the origin of a concept, so you send them to a great, like Encyclopedia Britannica article. But what you don't want to do when it comes to external linking is link them to a competitor. So let's say you haven't created a blog post. Let's go back to that human design client example. Let's say that they have this blog post about the human design generator type, but they haven't yet written one about a human design reflector type. And they make brief reference to that in the article. Well, we do not want to hyperlink them to a competitor's website that explains the reflector type, because yes, it'd be valuable to the reader, but it takes them away from you to the competition. So we lose them, and perhaps that is actually bad for the ideal client too, because they actually would have resonated with you. Like, they found you first. Maybe you were the right fit, but they just felt like, maybe this person isn't ready for me, and they found somebody else who is easy to swoop them in. Basically, they've left your zone. Just don't let them leave your zone. Only send them externally to places that are beneficial and are non-competitive. Number 7, this one should be pretty easy. Make sure your key phrase is in the title of your blog post. Probably want to wait until the end, once you've written it and you're sure about the content of that post, and then give it a title. I find that a lot easier. Sometimes even writing the whole blog post and then writing the intro is easier too. So I recommend waiting until the end to put that one key phrase in the title. Number 8, add images to your blog post. This is beneficial for a few reasons. One is that it's a lot easier to read because it's broken up visually, and there's something to draw the eye down different directions. Another benefit is that you can add alternative text tags. So when you go into the actual photo, so usually when you upload it to your blog, it's a media file there. So you can actually go and edit it, and you'll see an option for both captions. Most of the time they're separate, captions and alternative text. On some places, some website providers, it's actually the same thing for one reason or another. I haven't figured that out yet, but WordPress, it's for sure caption and alternative text. So just Google to double check whatever if it's Wix, Squarespace, etc. You want to make sure that the alternative text you write is useful, because the idea is that someone who is not able to actually see the screen or see the screen clearly and who has a screen reader, the screen reader can actually read the description of the picture just as well as it can read to them the text. But you only really want to do that for pictures that are of benefit. They're not just like decoration. And so what you also want to do, aside from making sure it's a useful piece of text, is making sure your key phrase is in that useful piece of text. Number 9 is to write your meta description with your key phrase. So there's usually a slot on WordPress, Squarespace, etc., where you can enter what's called the meta description. And this is essentially like if you're Googling something and you see maybe emmagivens.com about page. Underneath, you should see a description explaining what this page is about, and you'll see bolded that key phrase that they've typed in, but also that page is set up to register. So the best way to create a meta description is, and they're quite short, and you'll usually have a word limit that it'll give you, so you can't go over it, so don't worry about that. Usually because you wrote in your first sentence your key phrase, if you followed the checklist, usually copy and paste that first sentence there, or you might have to slightly tweak it so that it fits within the word limits. And that's usually good enough. An alternative is to check your concluding sentence if you've included your key phrase there and use that instead. Number 10 is to make sure your key phrase is in your slug. And when we talk about the slug, we're not talking about the little creature. We're actually talking about that little piece at the end of your web page, at the end of the URL, basically. So, for example, emmagivens.com/key phrase or title. So a lot of them will generate it for you based off of your title, which means typically it's already generating it with your key phrase, but you want to make sure it's not crazy long. Basically for your own sanity, if you ever want to link it to somebody or try and remember off the top of your head, oh, it's at emmagivens.com/fear of the blank page. It's a lot easier than emmagivens.com/on-writing fear of the blank page, how to overcome, etc. So just kind of double check your slug, essentially, because it usually generates it for you. All right, those are the 10 essentials for writing an SEO-friendly blog post. So hopefully that helped you double check an old blog post, maybe even update it so it's more SEO-friendly. You can also use that as a checklist to guide you. Now, if you want an easy to download version of this checklist, because it is quite a few things, 10 is a lot, then check out the link in my description because we've actually created a freebie for you. So if you go there, you'll be able to download a copy of this checklist for yourself, so you can print it out or pull it up on the other side of your screen whenever you're working on a blog post. All right, I hope you found this video to be super helpful, especially if this is your first time trying to make a blog post SEO friendly. Trust me, it can get a lot more complicated, but if you can get these 10 things covered for a blog post, you will see the results. Now keep in mind that content marketing usually sees its greatest effects in 3 months from the time that you start. So if you start writing SEO friendly blog posts now, in 3 months time, that's really when you can see, okay, has this been effective? Is it working for me? And it should work for you, but you can always consider at that point, maybe you want to bring in a team. It depends on what your goals are. That is quite advanced. If you do this, you will see the results. You will see positive effects. So just give yourself a window. Make sure that you're actively doing this with your blog posts. Give Google some time to index things so that you start to show up. But you will see a huge increase in web traffic if you follow these 10 essentials to writing SEO-friendly blog posts. All right, don't forget to download your freebie by clicking the link in the description. And if you're ready to learn more about content marketing like this, copywriting, and mental health for entrepreneurs, please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you get every single video delivered to you. I will see you next Thursday. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.